Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, my name's Alexa Ray. And welcome to another video. I'm so glad you're here and I'm so glad you clicked on today's video. We are going to be tackling my March TBR today and I am so excited. Monthly TBRs and monthly wrap-ups are some of my favorite videos to not only film on my channel but also watch in general. I just think it's a super fun way to get book recs, book inspo from. I just really love doing them. I think it also really helps if you set a monthly goal for yourself. It motivates you more to actually read. It's also just something super fun that I like to check off my list every month. I am going to be sharing my March TBR with you guys today and I am so very excited. Oh gosh, I don't even know. I have a very large TBR pile. I mean, large to me, maybe not to other readers out there, but I have a very large TBR pile for the month of March and I feel like I've said it the last few monthly wrap-ups, monthly TBR videos, so I promise this will be like the last time. But one of my goals for 2023 is to set more realistic monthly TBRs so that I'm able to complete them throughout the month, and when I do my wrap-ups I don't feel like super guilty about not reading my monthly TBRs. Last year I very much was a mood reader and I still am a mood reader, but I'm trying to cater more so to being a mood reader when it comes to making monthly TBRs. Before I would just kind of throw any book on my monthly TBR and be like, I'm going to read that this month, but I never would actually end up reading it. So this year I'm actually trying to be more careful when I'm making my monthly TBRs and I'm trying to pick out books that I'm in the mood to read and I'm itching to read. So although we have 9 books here that are going on my March TBR, these are all books that I have been dying to read the last few months. I have a lot of sequels in here because I read a lot of firsts in the beginning of this year and I'm super excited to continue on the series. We also have 2 wrapped books here, which I'm going to talk a little bit more about when we get to them. But yeah, March is going to be a little difficult for me just because it's Chris's birthday month and it's a very big birthday because he's actually turning 25. So we have a pretty big birthday coming up in the month of March. We also are going away, I think the 3rd week in March, and we're gonna be gone all week. We're going down to Florida. It's okay. Thanks. Anyways, this is a very ambitious TBR. We are just gonna hop right into it. Magnolia Parks is on my list for the month of March. This is by Jessa Hastings. This is a very popular book at the moment. I believe it's like a viral TikTok book or something like that. I think that's where all the hype is coming from. I actually originally picked this book up a little bit ago and I picked it up. Can you guys guess why I picked this book up? I picked this book up because of the cover. I think the cover of this book is just so different. It's so unique. I've never seen anything like this. I was immediately drawn to it. It's just so pretty and different to me. Since picking this up though, I have actually heard a lot of very positive things about it. I hear a lot of people compare it to Gossip Girl, but it just takes place in London. I was very intrigued when I heard that. I do believe there are some trigger warnings coming with this. I think it's about a very toxic relationship. I think the boy cheats on the girl and the girl cheats on the boy, dates other boys, whatever it may be. I don't think it's a closed door or clean romance. I think there is a little bit of spice in it. And ultimately, I think it's just about like first true loves. I think it's like a first love type of romance. I'm really excited to give this a try. This was on my February TBR and I didn't end up getting to it just because it is a little bit of a longer book. I think it's about 500 pages. This is probably going to be one of the first books I read in the month of March because I'm just really excited to see what the hype is about with this. I really want to see what this couple is all about. Although it is a very toxic type of romance, I still hear people say really good things about it. And I'm just a sucker for really crazy romances, so next up we have Ricochet by Krista and Becca Ritchie. This is an addicted novel and actually book 2 in the series. I read book 1 in February and although it was only a 3-star read for me, I'm still very interested in the story of these characters and I hear that if you keep going on, if you keep reading the series, it just gets so much better. And I also really want to read the Calloway Sisters series, so I really want to try and get through the first 3 books of this series so I can jump on the Calloway Sisters train and see what all the hype is about. If you're not familiar with this series, I'm sure most of you are, but if you're not familiar with the series, it tells the story of two best friends, Lily and Lo, and it's essentially a love story about two people who have addictions, and being together kind of enables those addictions. They're trying to get better, become better, so that they can be together and love each other to the fullest. So that's what the Addicted series kind of revolves around, Lily and Lo, and then the Calloway Sister series revolves around the friends of them, but also Lily's sisters. This is book 2 in the series. I've already read like one chapter of this, and I'm already really excited about it because we kind of get an insight into who Daisy is, which is Lily's youngest sister. We don't really see too much of Daisy in the first book. It's more so Rose, who is Lily's older sister. So reading about Daisy gets me really excited. I don't want to spoil what happened in the first book leading up into this, but basically the first book kind of ends with Lily and Lo basically not being able to be as close as they're used to being. I think in this book it's kind of tackling long distance and how they're navigating their relationship. Book 1 was definitely interesting and very different from other books I've read, but like I said, I am really excited to go on in the series because I just hear amazing things about it. Next up we have Scarred by Emily McIntyre. This is a never after novel and it is book 2 in the series. I read book 1 back in January, which is Hooked. That is a reimagining of Peter Pan, and I feel like I cannot shut up about that book because it just blew my mind at how amazing it was. Going into that story, I had no idea I was going to fall in love with it as much as I did. So I have picked up the next few books in the series, and Scarred is book 2. I believe this is a Lion King reimagining, which is kind of exciting. Once upon a time, there was a king who passed. He left behind two sons, one beloved and one outcast. The older of the two was set to take the throne, but before he could, he had to find a queen to call his own. The younger one was known to be unruly and unhinged. The chosen queen was warned to keep far away from him. Beautiful and cunning in the light is where she stayed, but late at night it was the shadowed lands in which she played. Mistakes were made and secrets forged, forgetting duty and her sense, and while the new king had her hand, her heart belonged to the scarred prince. I'm so excited. If you have not tried these books out and you are big on fairy tales, if you're big on Disney movies, Disney stories, these books are incredible. Going into them, again, I didn't know what to expect and I didn't think I would love them as much as I thought because they are dark reimaginings and they essentially revolve around the villains in the stories. Watching the movies, reading the fairy tales, the villains are the villains. We don't like the villains. We don't like Captain Hook. We don't like Scar from The Lion King. But these books make you fall in love with the villains and they make you understand why the villains are the villains in those stories, and they're just really they are roller coasters as books, I swear. They're dark romances and they give off very forbidden love type of vibes. I'm just here for it. I think it's so fun to read stuff like this that is just so different from what we're used to. Highly recommend the Never After series. I think the books are incredible and Emily McIntyre really makes you fall in love with these villains, like head over heels, swooning for them. It's so good. But I have to say, the spice level is a little bit up there. Definitely spicy books, 18 plus. Check for trigger warnings because there is some very sensitive stuff in there. Highly recommend if you're into that type of stuff and just want something totally new and different to read. Next up, we have 2 books out of a series that I am just literally swooning over at the moment. Finally read Shatter Me back in January for the first time. It is a very highly requested and recommended series on my channel, and I put it off for so long because I thought it was just like a fantasy read or something. I didn't know too much about it and I just felt like it was really out of my comfort zone, but a lot of people had told me that there is a romance in it. It takes place in a dystopian world, so I was like, okay. I wound up loving that book. Like, what a cool and different story. It was something so different to me. I've never read anything like it. It has that dystopian feel to it and it was really cool. It was definitely a book outside my comfort zone because I read mostly romance on my channel, and this book was so cool and so fun, and I'm just so happy I finally picked it up and read it. So in the month of March, I'd like to read Unite Me and Unravel Me. These are the next books in the series. Unite Me is actually 2 novellas put into one. The first one is Destroy Me and it's Warner's story. That one comes directly after Shatter Me, and then from there we jump into Unravel Me. We jump back into Juliet's mind, her world, we see what she's going through, and then after this one we go back and we read the Fracture Me novella, which is Adam's story and his point of view. I am very, very excited to read these books because so many of you have told me I have to keep going because I believe Ignite Me is life-changing. So I'm really, really excited to read these this month. I'm excited for the novellas to see Warner and Adam's point of view because the whole series is told from Juliet's point of view, which is really cool, but I love when we're able to get other characters' point of view. I just feel like it helps me understand the story more and understand where these characters are coming from, especially Warner, because in Shatter Me, I'm just very confused with him. I don't know if I like him, if I hate him. I don't know if he's the bad guy, if he's the good guy. Like, the whole story just has me really torn, so I'm excited to get a glimpse into his mind and what he's going through. And then Unravel Me is the next official novel in the series. Our lips touch and I know I'm going to split at the seams. He kisses me softly then strongly, like he's lost me and he's found me and I'm slipping away and he's never going to let me go. Juliet has escaped from the reestablishment. Now she's free from their plan to use her as a weapon and free to love Adam. But Juliet will never be free from her lethal touch, or from Warner, who wants Juliet more than she ever thought possible. Haunted by her past and terrified of her future, Juliet knows that she will have to make some life-changing choices. Choices that may involve choosing between her heart and Adam's life. I'm just so curious to see who she winds up with because I never thought that Warner was an option. Like, he kind of just gave me such weird vibes in book one, and now I'm wondering if he possibly is an option in her life. So I don't know what to expect from the series, but I'm really excited to continue it. And if you are a heavy romance reader such as myself and you're nervous about branching out into stuff like that, I highly recommend Shatter Me because, again, it was just such a fun and different type of story for me, and I was so sucked in. I finished the book so fast. I just loved everything about it, so definitely recommend that book. I'm so excited to continue on the series. The next two books I have in this pile are definitely maybes. They're hopefuls for the month of March. They're two books I have had my hands on for a very, very long time, but for some reason I have a hard time picking them up. I think it's because they're such hyped up books. When books are super hyped up, I get really nervous because I feel like I'm usually left very disappointed after reading them. So the first book I have is The Selection by Kiera Cass. This is a very highly requested book on my channel, very highly requested series. I've seen so many booktubers cover this book, do reading vlogs for it, review it. I have not really read or seen a lot of things on it. Like, I know people have done a lot of reading vlogs for it, but I've never actually watched them because since it is such a highly requested and recommended series on my channel, I just want to stay very surprised when going into it. This is about a girl named America, and essentially she put into a competition where she's competing with other girls to win the heart of Prince Maxon, who I don't think she actually wants to be with. I think she's in love with someone else who is below her class, so she can't really be with him. So she's put into this competition and she's very nervous to be selected because then I think she has to marry Prince Maxon. That's just obviously a very scary thing, especially when you're in love with someone else. I can't imagine what she's feeling and going through in this. From what I've heard about this series is that people either love it or they think it's the worst series ever. I think a lot of people say it's a really good YA read. It's a very good high school type of read. So part of me feels very much like I'm going to love this book the same way I love Shatter Me because I feel like they both get the same type of hype, the same type of vibe. I'm excited to see what this series has in store for me. And then following that, we have Throttled by Lauren Asher. This is book one in the Dirty Air series. This is another highly requested series on my channel, and I actually have the entire Dirty Air series as well as her entire Dreamland Billionaire series. They are two series that I do want to read this year. Like, I'm definitely reading these books this year. But again, because they are so hyped up, I get very nervous because I'm like, what if I don't like it like everyone else does? It just kind of makes me nervous. I hate going into books with such high hopes because I'm usually left disappointed or underwhelmed, so I just get nervous going into stuff like this. I want to try and pick it up this month because I just feel like it's time, and I hear such amazing things about her. Her third book in the Dreamland Billionaire series just came out, so I feel like it's just time to pick up a Lauren Asher book and give it a try. One of the first things that drew me to it was definitely the cover. I love the whole vibe. I also love that she numbers the books in a series. I think that's so smart. Like, I wish every book series numbered their books. I think it's just so much easier, but also looks like super aesthetic. I don't know why, but I also love when covers are like this matte. It's like a really soft velvety feel, and I just love that about book covers. Maya. Noah Slade is Formula One legend in the making. Focused, unapproachable, ruthless on and off the track. A man with walls higher than the Grand Canyon. And my brother's new teammate. I want more of the prince who disguises himself as the villain, but while I crave a happy ending, he wants to destroy his. Noah. Maya Skeletor is a forbidden temptation, an ambitious post-grad I should stay far away from, and chaos wrapped with a bow. We're a ticking time bomb, about one wrong move away from exploding. I want to trip the wire, detonating together in passion and pain, because in the end, all's fair in lust and war. I'm really excited to see what this is all about. I love when there are little drawings for the chapters. I love the work and details they put into books. I just think it's so cool. Last but not least, I have 2 books that are wrapped because in the month of March, I am hoping to finally film my blind date with a book. I have had these books since September of last year. I ordered these books in September of last year, hoping to film a blind date with the book because I saw so many people doing it. It looks so fun. The idea of ordering books online that you have no idea what you're going to get, it's just so exciting. I love the whole idea of it. I think it's super fun, spontaneous. It just kind of spices up reading for you. I decided to add these to my March TBR because I'm speaking it into existence. I'm pushing myself and motivating myself to pick them up this month and actually film the video, actually read them. I ordered these right off of Etsy and I just picked out 2 romance books. The way she wrapped them is absolutely gorgeous. I think part of me hasn't filmed the video and hasn't done anything with these because they're just so beautiful. I don't want to ruin it. So the first one I have is a romance, and then the second one is another romance, but it's actually a YA memoir romance, which is very interesting. I don't know what it's going to entail, and I've also never read a memoir, I don't believe. I'm trying to think. I don't think I've ever read a memoir, so this is going to be very interesting. The details again are so incredible. I'm putting these 2 books on my March TBR. I'm speaking them into existence. I'm gonna read them in the month of March. We're gonna film that video. But here are all 9 books on my March TBR. Again, a very ambitious TBR because I typically read around 5 to 6 books every month, but I really want to push myself this month and I think we can do it. Fingers crossed. I have high hopes. These are all books I'm itching to read, so I'm very hopeful for the month of March. As always, make sure to comment down below what you are reading in the month of March, what books you're excited to finally start, and then let me know if you saw any books that I mentioned today that you've already read or you're planning on reading. Let me know what your thoughts and opinions are, what your reviews are on them. I feel like I've really seen only good things about all these books, so I am very excited. If you've made it this far in the video, comment a little 4-leaf clover. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. This is your sign to create your own monthly TBR. I promise it will help motivate you so much more than you think. I used to never make monthly TBRs. I would read 1 to 2 books a month, and now that I make monthly TBRs, I read so much more than I used to. It's also just a super fun little challenge for you every month, and it keeps reading exciting. But with all that being said, I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll see you in my next video.